Now, the first step, of course, anyone should take is to examine oneself and, is my claim actually backed up by evidence? Is my, etc., etc. But in this case, it is, in the sense that vaccines don't cause autism. That is the claim. It's been backed up by plenty of evidence. And if we want to, encourage vaccinations, which is good because, kids can be protected from terrible diseases. Some diseases, by the way, have made something of a comeback where they've been fairly close to eradication. And then due to the anti-vaccine movement, vaccine rates have dropped. And, some of these disease levels have gone up. Not hugely, but still, like more than there would have been. There are children getting sick from stuff that we would have thought no one would get sick from, again, because we have this widely available, rather cheap vaccine. Provided by the government, even, and it said no. So one has to figure then, what else is going on? Because scientists will look at the problem of vaccines, for instance, or a number of other things, global warming, for instance. They'll look at this problem from a very scientific, logical standpoint. Okay, let's figure out what exactly do we know, and what can we be sure of, and what should we do about the problem. But we don't seem to understand that convincing other people is similarly a problem. Okay, so what do we know about other people, and what can we be sure of, and what should we do about the problem of public ignorance? The problem of people not getting it. Maybe, for instance, people feel misled by drug companies due to X, Y, and Z things that a company has done, and they did a later test and they found, oh, wait a minute, this pill isn't as healthy as we thought it was. It has this side effect we didn't tell you about. And is that suspicion of drug companies then creep over into a fear of vaccines, for instance? That's probably a good chunk of it. And then, okay, what can we do about that? Can we, A, improve the drug companies so they stop making mistakes like that? And B, specifically point out to people, hey, I know that such and such drug company, they hid such and such evidence, and I think that's appalling. Also, vaccines do not cause autism. You have to say that other thing first there, to get them to understand there's like a difference here, or that you're sort of on their side or whatever. I'm not going to solve that whole problem by myself, or in the midst of this video, but I want to get the ball rolling on that. How do we convince people of things? Global warming, for instance, is very well established that human activity, carbon emissions, and so forth is having a serious effect on the climate in the long run. People like to put out all sorts of little short-term trends. Oh, like last winter was cold. Like, yeah, but the long-run trends are very clearly, we're getting warmer. To what degree is that going to be like a disaster versus just sort of a problem? Somewhat in dispute. I mean, what's your definition of disaster, I guess, etc., etc. But nevertheless, there are other people who don't even think we're getting warmer at all. I've talked to these people on the internet and stuff, and I'm like, look, here's the temperature record. Here it is. Here's the line. It's going up. And the guy doesn't even get it. A lot of them will stop talking to me. Something on conspiracy theories. Some people believe in like 9/11 conspiracy theories. And it's amazing how this works, where like, they won't even acknowledge my evidence sometimes. They'll get that far. It won't even be like, I see you have evidence, but I don't think your evidence is trustworthy because X, Y, and Z. No. They won't even mention it sometimes. This is obviously, sort of on the deep end, sort of out there. But still, it's an interesting study in psychology. Why do people think that way? Why do people think? And then there's a whole variety of reasons. But you have to understand that there's this other mind here besides yours, and the human mind, though capable of logic, does not always engage in logic. Does not always face the facts. So, to avoid the tragedy of the Vulcans, we have got to start thinking about the thoughts of other people, and understand how they think. And in that way, we can persuade them of the truth. And in that way, on things such as vaccinations, kids can get vaccinated, and we can prevent disease. And global warming, we can take whatever steps are necessary there, and prevent, further troubles of the climate. Because a lot of these problems require broad action. And until we learn to really talk to each other, and understand each other in this way that we can, express the evidence, then the evidence does not get expressed, and people remain ignorant. And in the end, not just the smart people, but all of us, suffer from the tragedy of the Vulcans. Thanks for watching. See you later.